Hey, I'm Tracy. Welcome to or welcome back to Auntie's Cakery. First of all, I love the colors of this cake. I love the maroon matched with the gold and with a little bit of white creamish background going on. As I was browsing Pinterest, I got so many ideas in my head. I have so many sketches in my sketchbook. I don't even know if I'll ever have time to make them all, but this is one of the designs I came up with. I did this cake just for practice. It's not real cake. I wanted to try a couple new molds that I got from Marvelous Molds. I was so excited to try them out. This damask pattern mold and this quilting mold. And being my first time using them, there are a few little flaws in there, but I don't mind showing you guys my failures and my successes, so you can learn with me as I go. So now I'll show you how I did it. If you would like to watch this same cake without me explaining it step by step, I do have another video. You can find that link down in the description or up in the eye. See you at the end. I started by coloring a bit of fondant brown. I also colored my fingers, oopsie! Then I added a small amount of Tylose powder to the fondant in order to strengthen it just a bit. Now with my pasta roller, I will roll that fondant out fairly thin. I believe it was a 3 on the pasta machine. If you don't have a pasta machine, that's okay. You can use a rolling pin and elbow grease. And here I have my damask pattern onlay from Marvelous Molds. I'll dust it with a little bit of cornstarch and tap the excess off. Then I'll lay that strip of fondant right on top, and with my fingers I'll press quite firmly into all those little spaces. After it's all pressed in, I will take my fondant smoother and lightly and quickly I'll start rubbing the top of the fondant. When I can see all those design lines, I will remove the excess fondant. And there's a few little pieces on the inside that need to be removed also. Once I have all those pieces removed, I brushed a bit of piping gel on the design. You could also use a bit of water or vegetable shortening. I didn't like how the piping gel left that shiny around the edges, so on the subsequent ones, I believe I used vegetable shortening. And I placed that design all around the base of the cake. Then with some gold luster dust mixed with a little bit of alcohol, I painted the design gold. On this one I'm using the side of the brush and it doesn't make such a mess. Now I'll start working on the stripes for the second tier. Again, I've got my brown fondant and rolled it out fairly thin with a pasta roller and cut out some wavy strips. I cut those strips into 6-inch lengths. And I put them in a bag to keep them moist while I cut out some maroon strips. So here I have a piece of wax paper that I drew a pattern on. I'll spread a thin layer of vegetable shortening all over the wax paper and lay the wavy strips on top of the dotted lines. And I'll paint the edges of those gold. Lay that red strip as center as possible on the wavy strip. So a lot of shortening, and then I'll put another piece of wax paper right on top of it. And then this wax paper I'll use to transfer right to the cake. Then transfer it onto the cake. Line it up so it's even on both sides, then press those strips to the white fondant. For the bottom border, a little piping gel and another gold strip of fondant. Now onto the 8-inch tier. For this I'm using another mold from Marvelous Molds. And between each of the diamond shapes there's a little dent. I'm just going to put a gold dragé right in those little spaces. Now it's time to roll out my fondant. I'm going to roll it the thickness of the purple ring on my fondant roller. Then I'll spread a thin layer of vegetable shortening onto it. Flip it upside down so the vegetable shortening is touching the beads. And again with my fingers I will firmly press. Press, press, press. I want to get all those beautiful details. With my fondant smoother, I'll rub it against the edge lightly and quickly, and it will just cut that fondant right off. After I've removed the excess, I'll smooth out those edges. Now it's time to place it onto the cake. Because I have a foam tier, I'm using piping gel. But if you have a layer of fondant on the cake, you can use vegetable shortening. Make sure it's all stuck down and just peel that mold right off. Oh, it worked! That looks so lovely. Oh, I love this pattern. Look at those little wrinkles. I don't think this was made for a square cake, so I'm gonna make it work as best I can. Gonna bend this around the edge there. Right here where the two pieces meet, I'm just going to gently press them together. And I'll do that all around the cake. This mold is called the Tufted Swiss Dot Sim Press. And again, I will have a link down in the description box where you can purchase one from Marvelous Molds. I'll also piece some together on the top. You can actually do this on a flat surface and then move it onto the cake. I just chose to do it right on the cake in the first place. The next time I use this mold, I'm going to be a little more careful about the depth of my fondant and make sure it's all even. After I've got the cake covered, I'll replace any beads that are missing or have fallen off. For the top border of this cake, I'm making a pearl border and coloring it, you guessed it, gold. Now I'm moving on to the top tier. These are some stencils I picked up at Michael's, I think. I'm using really thick royal icing to spread on these stencils. Make sure to wipe that off in one smooth swipe. Oh, that's beautiful. I use the graph paper just so I have the same spacing on every side. I'm going to stack the quilted layer on top of the stripe layer. Right here I'm just measuring where I need to cut the bottom stripe so it will fit properly. Now it's time to paste it on, adjust it into place, and add a gold bead border at the bottom. Oh, I need a little more space for those beads, so I'm just cutting off a little bit from those stripes. For the bottom border of the top tier, I'm using the thick royal icing again and just making a little beaded border. And also for the border of the bottom tier. Flowers? No flowers? Flowers? No flowers. I still haven't decided if I like it with the flowers or without. These are just silk flowers, so they're not quite the right color. Anywho, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something, as I did while making this cake. If you like what you see, subscribe to my channel so you can get the next video as soon as I make it. And I do read all your comments, so you're welcome to leave one. Bye. Hey, do you have a question specifically for me? It would be my pleasure to answer you the best I can with the knowledge I have. So down in the description box, you will find a link where you can ask me your questions and I will answer you in a video just like this. Just me and you, one-on-one. So go ahead and click that, ask me your questions. I'm really excited to help you learn more. Bye.